All right, 75 refined, day 4. Today's quote is, "Problems are not stop signs, they are guidelines." That comes from Robert H. Schuller. He was the pastor of the Crystal Cathedral and the host of the Hour of Power, I believe it was called. So we had a lot going on today in our reading. Let's get right into it. So we were in Genesis. We wrapped up Genesis chapters 48 through 50, and then we went into the book of Exodus. So let's get right into it. So where do we see? We see Jacob blesses Ephraim over Manasseh, once again showing God's choice overturns human expectations because he blessed the younger over the older. Jacob prophesied over his sons. They were not all good, but one that we would call out would be that he declared that the scepter would not depart from Judah. Now, this is really, really key because what this is saying is that his rule would never end. And this is a messianic prophecy because what tribe is Jesus from? It's from the tribe of Judah, the Lion of Judah. We see that. The Judah is a lion. Joseph forgives his brothers and affirms God's sovereign hand over even the suffering. He said, what you intended for evil, God intended for good. It's a wonderful, it's so much happening here. The Lion of Judah is coming. God rules over evil and is redemptive. Then we move over into Exodus. It starts out by saying that there was a Pharaoh who did not remember Joseph. Man, it's so easy for history to repeat itself, and we're no more than just a few generations away from things being totally different than they are now. And this is a great example of how Joseph's family were brought in as a salvation to their family, and because Joseph was so highly regarded in Egypt, and yet just a few generations later, they're slaves. Lord help us that we never fall into that same type of a situation. But this is where the people really grew. They really multiplied under a lot of pressure too. They were delivered from death, and then many of the children were put to death. It was, terrible that they went to seek to kill the Hebrew boys, but there was one child that was preserved for deliverance, and this is a similar thing that we see happen with Christ with the slaughtering of the innocents, where they actually fled to Egypt. It's interesting how in Egypt they slaughtered the boys, and when King Herod, and we'll read that later once we get into the New Testament, when King Herod wanted to slaughter the young boys, they fled to Egypt to escape that slaughter. That is with Jesus and his family. And so, getting to Exodus chapters 3 through 4, we see God appears to Moses in the burning bush. He reveals his name. He says, "I am who I am. Who are you? I am." What does that mean? I am, right? That's so deep and so rich. We even see later when Jesus uses several I am statements in the New Testament. He even says, "Before Abraham was, I am." Again, rich theological stuff showing that he is God and God from the beginning. God commissions Moses despite his weakness and promises his presence. Moses repeatedly says, "I can't speak very well. I have a stutter." Some theologians believe that his problem was that he stuttered. And despite that weakness, God still used him. So God revealed himself as self-existent and faithful to the covenant. The deliverance begins with a revelation, and again, this whole thread that we see with Christ is the I am language, and that the true deliverer comes from that same divine name, I am, where the I am delivered them from Egypt, and I am delivered us from our sins. Exodus 5 through 7, we start to see the confrontation with Pharaoh. Pharaoh resists. He increases Israel's sufferings. He's saying, hey, listen, I'm not going to deliver this hay to you to make the bricks, but you're still going to make the bricks. And so they're under this immense persecution. But God reiterates his covenant promise and declares that he is Yahweh. He is the one true God. Moses confronts Pharaoh and the signs begin. This is where God starts to expose his power over Egypt with the first plague. And as we get through, we'll start talking about more of the plagues. There's a total of 10, so we just started with one. So we see high level overview here. Going back to Genesis, the rejected son becomes the preserver of life. The covenant is narrowed down to Judah. God multiplies his people in Egypt. There comes oppression, but a deliverer is born. God reveals his name, that he is I am, he is Yahweh, and or Jehovah, depending on the translation, the transliteration. And then that confrontation begins. Suffering never stops the promise. Bondage never cancels the covenant. And God always raises a deliverer. And we're looking forward always to Christ, that Christ is the ultimate redeemer. And we're getting to that. So tomorrow, we're going to hit the plagues. This is where we really get into all of the plagues of Egypt. And when they start to get ready to leave, it's going to start to really heat up. Once again, I want to hear from you. What are you getting out of your readings? This is my reading once again. Discipline Equals Freedom. This is my personal reading outside of the Bible. And we're getting a lot out of this book. We hit our water goal today. We hit the prayer goals. We hit the diet goals. We're just firing on all cylinders. So we're really getting after it. Let me know how things are going for you. I've gotten some feedback from a number of people that they're crushing it. 4 days in, they're just really hitting it strong. And I want to know how you guys are doing. Let me know in the comments. And let me know what you want to get out of these videos. Let me know if there are some things that you want me to hit on. Some things that you say, hey, maybe you spend a little bit too much time with that, or you don't spend enough time with this. I want to know what you guys are looking for with these daily recaps. Anyways, I appreciate all you for watching these. Come back tomorrow for day 5. Out.